Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to evening devotion. If you watched morning devotion, you would have heard me say I accidentally filmed evening devotion, but because it was on there, I wasn't paying attention because I'd been up half the night, so I wasn't all the way awake yet. But I was running late, and I filmed probably about half of it before I realized, wait a minute, this is evening devotion. I had to restart. So now we'll get into evening devotion at the right time. Zechariah 1:20 is our verse tonight. And the Lord showed me four carpenters. This is an interesting set of scriptures. And the devotion is interesting, especially since I had basically already read it. So in the New King James, it's four craftsmen. So the word, they use carpenters because in the original, in the King James, but craftsman still gets the same sentence across. Skilled workers, skilled people. People who know what they're doing is what the reference is. So let's go up, and in this particular case, our context starts here. It's just a few verses. A vision of horns and craftsmen. Verse 18, then I raised my eyes and looked, and there were four horns. Now, if you go back and look in the book of Revelation, and even go back into the Old Testament, but in the book of Revelation, when you read about the dragons with 7 heads and 10 horns, and it's a reference to leaders, and I forget what chapter it is in there, but you read down to the second half of the chapter and it tells you that it's leadership. And go in the Old Testament and the same references all refer to leaders. So these four horns are leaders, and I'm wondering if these four horns are members of the coalition of nations that is the red dragon with the 7 heads and 10 horns. So it's 7 heads, which is 7 leaders or 7 councils with 10 nations underneath each one. That was birthed in 2019, by the way. Sealed in blood on the Mount of Olives. I shared multiple times the news story when that happened. It's quite wild, but the 70-nation coalition has been going for a few years now, and they actually just added a few more members to it here a month ago. So I'm wondering if these four horns are from that group. Possible. It's possible. And there may be times in the past where this had been partially fulfilled. You know, read in Daniel 8 about the goat, the goat that flies, doesn't touch the earth, that attacked the ram. And it talks about a notable horn. Well, clearly it's a reference to a leader. I personally think it's Trump in America. I mean, it's not by accident. His name's Trump. It stands out. Anyway, a trump, a horn, same thing. So this four horns could be something that's a direct reference to what comes at the end. And this is going to be evidenced by a few more of these verses. And I said to the angel who talked with me, what are these? So he answered me, these are the horns that have scattered Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem. So these would be leaders who have caused to be cast out or away Israel, and the members of Israel. And then the Lord showed me 4 craftsmen. So these would be 4 carpenters. These would be 4 skilled workmen. And I said, what are these coming to do? So he said, these are the horns that scattered Judah, so that no one could lift up his head. But so they were suppressing them, but the craftsmen are coming to terrify them, to cast out the horns of the nations that lifted up their horn against the land of Judah to scatter it. I wonder who this is referencing. There's a lot of people that could be on the list of who these horns are. They are probably here now in the world today. The devotion may shed some more light on it. In the vision described in this chapter, the prophet saw 4 terrible horns. They were pushing this way and that way, dashing down the strongest and the mightiest. And the prophet asked, what are these? The answer was, these are the horns which have scattered Israel. So these would be the leaders that have scattered Israel. He saw before him a representation of those powers which had oppressed the church of God. Now, I think it's actually talking about Israel, because I think this is something that may have started to be fulfilled in the past, but its fruition, its ultimate fruition and completion is happening now, because we're seeing that today, how many leaders are trying to scatter Israel. Quite a few. But this could also be a reference to the church too. There were four horns, for the church is attacked from all quarters. That would be the cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. Well might the prophet have felt dismayed, but on a sudden there appeared before him four carpenters. He asked, what shall these do? These are the men whom God hath found to break those horns in pieces. So these are four skilled workmen who are going to put an end to these leaders. God will always find men for his work, and he will find them at the right time. The prophet did not see the carpenters first, when there was nothing to do, but first the horns, then the carpenters. So when something needed to be done, then they came up. The Lord always has people waiting in the wings to step up and do these things. Moreover, the Lord finds enough men. He did not find 3 carpenters, but 4. There were 4 horns. There must be 4 workmen. Now, what I'm wondering is, and this is just my speculation, is if these skilled workmen, these carpenters, are other types of leaders, and they're coming to take out these leaders and remove them. I don't know. God finds the right men, not 4 men with pens to write. God finds the right men, not 4 men with pens to write, not 4 architects to draw plans, but 4 carpenters, 4 skilled workers to do rough work. Men using their hands to deal with things. Rest assured, you who tremble for the ark of God, that when the horns grow troublesome, the carpenters will be found. And they're probably going to be people that are existing at the time. And that could be right now. You need not fret concerning the weakness of the church of God at any moment. There may be growing up in obscurity the valiant reformer who will shake the nations. You know, any of the people that come forward to serve the Lord always come out of obscurity. Always come out of nowhere. Or the people may know them and not hold them in any high regard, and then suddenly they come out. The same thing happened to Jesus when he came. They're like, isn't this Joseph's son, whom we know? They didn't pay him no mind. They didn't pay attention to him. Isn't this the carpenter's son, who we know? He came out of obscurity and presented himself to the world, and then completed his sacrifice. He didn't want to make a big show or fanfare of it. Everything that was done by design. Everything that's done now is done by design. What is that? Chrysostoms may come forth from our ragged schools, and Augustines from the thickest darkness of London's poverty. You know, when the Lord needs to bring somebody out or wants to bring somebody out, he will. He knows who he's going to use, and he will give them everything they need to be able to do it. The Lord knows where to find his servants. He hath in ambush a multitude of mighty men. And at his word they shall start up to the battle, for the battle is the Lord's, and he shall get to himself the victory. So, if something needed to be done, say in this country, say something specific needed to be handled, and the government and the federal and the local governments were unable to do it, or maybe unwilling, local people, regular everyday people, the Lord would inspire them to step up and take care of business and do it. He will. There's stories in the Bible about it. Let us abide faithful to Christ, and he, in the right time, will raise up for us a defense, whether it be in the day of our personal need or in the season of peril to his church. Well, there is peril to the church right now. There has been peril to the church. What has the Lord done? He has raised up a leader to come and deal with this. And that leader is doing very well. The Lord has strengthened him to continue on. Trump is just one of them. A lot of people think he's the Antichrist. Doesn't matter. The Lord is using him to great effect. He is a champion for the Christians. He's a champion for the Jews. 2009, legislation was being actively trying to be passed by the Democrats. 2008 is when Obama got elected. 2009 is when this all really started to come on the scene where people could see it. But they were actively trying to pass legislation against Jews and Christians. And they made no bones about hiding it. They were like, yeah, we don't want them. We don't want them to be able to do what they're going to do. They're causing problems. They're still, even just before Trump got elected this time, they were talking up there, AOC and all them, talking about Christians, white Christian nationalists. It's always the white man's fault. It's always the Christian nationalist's fault. And we're just out here just trying to survive every day. And none of us doing nothing that they're talking about. It has nothing to do with it. They're the ones causing the problems. But they're trying to stop all of us. And so what does the Lord do? The Lord brings them up. And so the Lord brought up a leader, multiple leaders at that time, 2016. And then when that time was over, he brought another set of bad leaders back up. And look what they did. And he was showing us, you want to see the difference? Here's the difference. And now he's brought his other leader back up. Well, multiple back up. Now, where the four come in, I don't know. It may not be that it's this scenario right now. It may be a future scenario where this is ultimately fulfilled. But we can see aspects of this quite clearly in our world today. The Lord knows those who are his. The Lord will bring up certain people who he is training for the task, bring them up at the right time to go forward and to deal with whatever needs to be dealt with. He's going to bring the 2 witnesses up. He's going to bring the 144,000 up. He knows what he's doing. What did he tell Elijah? Elijah was like, Lord, take my life. Jezebel's killed everybody else. She's after me. I might as well just be dead and go on. What, you think you're special? I got a cave full of people waiting to step up and to do what needs to be done. You're going to keep going and doing what you're doing. But I can replace you with people easily. The Lord has 50 to 100 people waiting at any moment and any time to step up and take the place of one that falls. So why would we be fearful of what is happening? We don't need to be. Let the leaders rant. Let them rave. Let them attempt to pass legislation and try to stop us. Because we're the restrainer. The Holy Spirit, the restrainer dwelling within us. We're the restrainer. Ken Johnson showed that in some stuff he's done recently on his videos. And it clearly states that. We have to be removed in order for them to do what they want to do. They're not going to be able to while we're here. We have many champions in government that are fighting on our side and fighting for truth. So let's not think that the circumstances are dire and that nothing can be done and that all hope is lost. Because when we look at a situation that's happening in front of us or we're on the world stage, we can all sit back and go, okay, so the Lord knows this is happening. He sees it. He knows what it's going to take to deal with it, and he knows what to do. Let's not lose hope, but instead, I'm going to hold on to hope. Matter of fact, I'm going to, like we talked about before, I'm going to take it to the Lord. Lord, what do we do about this? And if nothing, then what will you do about it? Here's your promises talking about prospering us and caring for us and watching over us and protecting us and making life peaceful around us. Lord, do this concerning your servant and bring judgment on the leadership if need be. Bring change to the leadership. We would rather have that, but Lord, we ask your will be done in all things. It may be that these bad leaders need to run a spell in order to set certain things in order and make certain things happen in order for them to be exposed later, or to bring about certain justices that people didn't realize were going to happen, and to open doors for certain things and close doors for others, so that his plan and his will is going to be done. We can count on that, and no matter how dark it may look, no matter how daunting things may seem, no matter how destitute we may feel, he's still in control. He still has it all under his control. We have nothing to fear and nothing to worry about. And as well we shouldn't. Because if we do, where's the faith? If we get brought down by the things that are happening. I mean, what if they succeed in passing legislation against Christians? Anybody who is a Christian and anybody else, you'll get $1,000 if you sell them out. And what if our own family sold us out? And they came and they snatched us up and they took us and put us in prison. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? We're still the Lord's. Is it going to be fun? No. But we're still the Lord's. He still will keep his promises concerning us. And we can count on the fact that if that happens, the Lord is going to send someone to deal with it, or he will come himself and deal with it. And it will be shocking to those who don't know any better. And it will be amazing to us who do. And we will be able, we can't help to give him the glory. What if he did that to show his hand? What if he did that to create an opportunity to show more grace, more mercy, to bring more glory to his name? What is that to us but an opportunity to glorify him more? So don't let the things that we see and hear, because governments are crazy, people are nuts. Don't let those things bring you down, and don't let those things discourage you. But instead, know the truth. Know the truth and remind yourself daily of the truth. Because when you're reminded and remind yourself, and others remind you, and you remind others of the truth, in the act, and I do this in these videos, in the act of encouraging others, you become encouraged. An act of, we talked about this, a month or two ago in a devotion. In the act of watering others, you become watered too. In the act of all this, we also enjoy the benefits of it. And so let's encourage each other. Let's encourage ourselves. Let's go to the Lord and let him have his way. Let him do things his way, because it will bring about the greatest effect. It will bring about look what happened under Constantine. Constantine was wholesale slaughtering Christians, pushing them off cliffs, and soldiers were standing down at the bottom in case, because the bodies would pile up and some would survive and they'd have to spear them. And the story is that they were singing on the way down, and the ones that survived at the bottom were still singing. And the soldiers were getting converted. So what if the Lord decides, a bunch of us need to go home and be martyred, but in the process, he creates triple the amount of Christians that are taken, merely by us being faithful. Us living for his glory is an example to the world. And if we suffer tribulation and persecution and trials and troubles with grace and mercy, looking to him and glorifying him, and the world sees that and the people around us see that, what effect is it going to have on them? I know what effect it'll have. It will change them. It will change them, and they will become saved too. And what happens to us? We win. We get to go home and be with the Lord sooner. We get a private escort versus having to ride the bus with everybody else in the rapture. I make that joke, but it's going to be a glorious day either way. But how amazing is it? How amazing is it to know that the Lord has all this stuff? And you must remind yourself, I do, that the Lord has it all under control. It has it all in his hands. Nothing will happen outside of his will. So if it happens, it's because it was his will that it happened. Even if it's something negative, if something seems like it's bad, it's his will. Because he will bring about a greater glory later. And we saw that just in this last two cycles of the presidential election here in America. Under Biden and his group, everything was horrible. Everything got terrible. It just did nothing but go downhill. And now under Trump, hasn't even been a year. We're just now creeping up on that in January of next year, when he took office last year. And things were already so exponentially better. It's amazing. Everybody said, oh, it's going to get worse. And it didn't. It got better. It just keeps getting better. So the Lord brought all that negativity down, and then look what happened. He brought out something amazing. And the greater glory came from it, because the contrast was such a stark contrast between the two. What happens after this? I don't know. But I'm along for the ride, and we're all going to just walk across that finish line together. The Lord will not let us fall by the wayside. He will not lose us. He will not let us go. We are his. We belong to him, and that will never change. So don't let what you see and hear get you down. Don't let people cause you to become disturbed by the things that are happening. Don't fear any of it. The Lord told us, he commanded us, do not fear. Do not be troubled. Only believe. I believe. I believe. I love you all very much. I bless you all in Jesus' name. I'll see you in the next video.